Welcome to TRS Clips, India's fastest learning portal. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon. Jaane tu ya Jaane na. It was such an important film for me, dude.
And Laksh, you mentioned that 100 times.
Laksh?
Yeah.
Laksh is my film. Jaane tu ya Jaane na taught me things about love, man. You worked on, that's a cult classic. Like,
I'm extremely embarrassed to tell you that when we were making that film, I had no expectations. I was like, what are we doing? There's a kid on a horse riding through Bombay streets. This is absolutely outside of reality. How would anyone ever understand this film? Cut to, I couldn't get tickets for my family on the weekend. And I was like, are people really watching this?
Yeah.
You know, and then I realized how it connected and what it did to the audiences, you know.
it did a lot to people about my age, early 90s kids.
Sure.
I remember being in the theater during Kahin To,
I know.
during that song, dude, I wept for the first time in a movie. As a toxically masculine 14-year-old, I was crying thinking about the girl I liked. And I was like, yo, this movie's gonna stay with me for a
Oh,
bit.
sweet.
You're the Pappu in the Pappu dance.
Well, you know, everyone makes mistakes. What can I say, man? I mean, I should just get a tattoo saying I made a mistake. Well, I didn't make a mistake. Honestly, it was such a fun experience. We were a bunch of friends making that film. We were in Alibag. It's so funny. We were in Alibag and we didn't have enough actors. So Abbas, the director, just looked at me and said, we'll just do this partner. I mean, he just want Pappu. Nobody. And I at that time, even though it was obviously Mr. Rahman who'd done the music, in my head, I was like, what is this track? Pappu can't dance. And who's ever going to listen to this track? So, you know, I stood up there and did it. And cut to, it became a film everyone watched. And you won't believe, a teacher of mine called me from school. They thought I was trying to become an actor. And I was struggling in Bombay trying to act. And a teacher of mine from school messaged me on Facebook saying, it is okay. It is okay. People start like this. Don't worry. People will see you. Even though this is a very small part, maybe somebody will recognize you one day. And I felt like, how do I explain to you? I'm trying to be a director, not an actor. So you know, it was, and it's so funny because even when I was directing my first film, you know, you would be directing some actors you're meeting for the first time, or you know, few new people on set, and they'll be like, oh, you're that guy, you're Pappu. And you're like, okay, they're never gonna take me seriously. I've grown a beard. But I think it's still I've not managed to you know, get that image out of people's mind.
But what does it feel like when you see something you worked on become a cult classic? I'd even say the same for Kapoor and Sons, dude. Did you realize what you were building when you were doing that?
Of course not. I had no clue. I mean, I was so surprised.
What's the story there?
Story where?
With Kapoor and Sons, what's the story? Like, why did you want to do that film?
Well, just the way I want to do any film I want to try tell a story that means something to me, and hopefully it's not conventional and it's not something that's you know, assembly line product. It's not run of the mill. It's trying to do something different. I was, as I said, with Kapoor and Sons, I was kind of bored with the idea of how we've showcased families in Indian films for a long time, and I was like, I don't feel like that. Why don't we try something which feels more authentic to me? Same thing with Gehraiyaan is like, as I said, an oversimplified idea of love that we've been seeing for so long. But we've had better, I mean, not better, but I have nothing against a romanticized idea of love. But I think it's been a while since you've seen Lamhe, or, you know, a movie like Arth, Silsila, you know. Where are those kind of films? And listen, even look at something like Devdas. For the time when it was written, it's an extremely complex story. You know, it's not a straightforward piece of love. These are complex characters going through messy situations, and they were accepted in mainstream, and they're huge. So I was like, those emotions connected, those kind of stories connected. They're kind of missing for a while, and it was just time to maybe bring them back into conversation. So yeah, that's the starting point for me. Is like, I feel that this has been a kind of a place where we haven't explored. So let's go and see if there's something to try here, you know.
What did that film do to you though? Because it made a lot of families feel naked while watching it. Kapoor and Sons.
Yeah.
You watch it, you were like, oh shit, this shit happens in my family as well. So like, what did it do for you, man?
Well, every film, as I was saying early, what you look forward to is what a film does to you actually more than what you're making.
In the long term.
In the long term. And I think every film, mostly in the writing stage, not always in the directing stage, heals you a little bit. Because somewhere, something that you've been holding on, feeling, you do put in the film. You dramatize it, you fictionalize it. Whether it's with Gehraiyaan, it's my own struggle or my own morality of how my struggle with the idea of morality and monogamy and infidelity.
More right versus less right, more wrong versus less wrong.
And being able to not know which side of the line I should be at and what should I feel about it. And to be honest, I don't have an answer, and I'm not taking responsibility for giving an answer. But I think it's Gehraiyaan for me is a movie that leaves you at a question and let you kind of interpret it and find an answer for yourself. So in that way, I'm really keen to see how it interacts with the audiences. Because I feel now that's something I'm really enjoying about storytelling, is not to, do a nice little bow tie in the end, but to be like, hopefully take people on a journey and leave them at a question where they're like, oh, I got to do the thinking now, and can we do that to audiences today? That's for me is very fascinating.